from morning till now, we have spoken on various topics, and some of the speakers have also added and introduced other topics, giving it a much more richer or much more broader understanding on this whole thing on women, media, and like Radhika has impressed upon many on the 73rd Amendment and what it has meant to women. Though it was not part of the topic, but many women have benefited from your what you have, kind of then the girl from the media who spoke, and of course Sabina who spoke, or the others during the day, besides their topic, they also gave a lot of other input. Now the last session for the day, obviously the time we have will be the least. So I only hope they are not going to cut the question answer session, because last session they gave 5 minutes. So we being the last, they may say no minutes. Okay? But much depends on how we are able to interact with each other. You'll have the program with you, and it is positive reporting on women, what and how. Okay? I'm not going to, as a chairperson, I'm not going to speak on it, but just to impress on the words, one thing is we have to talk about reporting on women, and through the morning session we have already brought out some aspects of negative reporting. So my suggestion is to the speakers to please talk on the how and what. The time is very limited, so the how, or if not the how, at least the what do we report on positive, because we will be having the students coming in and they are going to be the future people in the media. There are others also who are interested in how do they take these aspects. So you all could probably be the help them out with whatever. My request is that we have on the dais Lalita, who is an educationist. You have Chitra, who has been the master at setting up any number of self-help groups in Goa, and you have Danushka, who is one of the youngest reporters we have in Goa, who is with the Navin Times. So you have a very broad spectrum of 3 people from different. I request Lalita to please start with the session.
Good evening everybody, and greetings to each one of you on the occasion of International Women's Day. Well, I really feel happy and privileged to participate in this seminar where we had a lot of experts who shared their views. I will be sharing it as a common person, and as is pointed out by Shanti, I would try to keep it to the positive reporting with a little introduction and try to suggest some solutions even at the level of a common man. Well, according to me, positive reporting on women refer to how the women are projected, or how the issues related to women are projected in media, and whether it's a print media, electronic media, social media, whatever. And generally it is really a matter of concern the way the image of the woman is projected, whether, as I say, any kind of a media. The social scientists and the media researchers all over the world feel that the portrayal of women in mass media is biased. Women are always underrepresented. They are shown very often as sex objects, or in negative image, or propagate stereotypes. Well, these are the general observations, and before I go to the positive solutions about it, I would like to give a little statistics. And recently, on the occasion of Global Media Monitoring Day, major media outlets from 130 countries were monitored. And the result was that in mainstream broadcast and print media, out of the people interviewed, heard, seen or read, only 24% were female. This is the global scenario, 130 countries. Women are also underrepresented, and as experts and authorities. We may see many women, but as experts and authorities. Now see the statistics. 81% of experts and 82% of spokespersons who appear in the news are male. And only in the category of providing popular opinion, there was almost parity. That is, men 53% and women 47%. Now, the Indian scenario is not different than the global scenario. We have, I'm just referring to the recent studies. There was a study by Joshi Working Group on software. And what I've done is, like, since you said combine it with this thing, I will be, because the topic is vast and not possible to cover everything, based on this study, I have just tried to combine what can be done to depict the positive image of the women in media. It is observed that normally the middle class ideologies of women's role as wives and mothers provide the basis for most of the programs. Whereas if you see in our country, there are about 36% of the women, agricultural labor is women. We have industrial labor apart from the white collar jobs in which the women are engaged into. So we have these statistics, but in spite of this, women continue to be projected as non-producers. So what could be done is, when we depict the image of women, we need not show women performing only decorative functions, but they can be portrayed as contributors to the national economy or growth, or could be films or TV or serials or whatever. Very importantly, as portrayed, most valuable asset of a woman need not be her physical beauty. It could be her mind, it could be her talent, it could be her hard work, anything. I would like to just quote and how that can be done. That also, I think I'll give you an example of an advertisement of the same product and how the change took place. All of us are aware about Fair and Lovely and how widely it is advertised. Most of you may remember that few years back there was an advertisement by Fair and Lovely, Kundali Badal Gayi, that the girl of a marriageable age, the father trying to get married and can't get a good match because she is on the darker side, starts using Fair and Lovely, and then the catchline was, now she gets a lovely husband, Kundali Badal Gayi, because of Fair and Lovely. Now this advertisement was under a lot of scrutiny, it was criticized heavily, there was a lot of, and I think continuously the Fair and Lovely, against Fair and Lovely there was a lot of kind of protest, kind of, and recently I saw one more ad of Fair and Lovely. There is this girl again whose father comes and says that, now you have to get married, and there is this excellent rishta which has come, but she said, I want to do a job. I said, but usko job hai, he has got a good job, he has got his own house, he is well settled. You will not get this kind of rishta again. And that girl is little confused. So she goes to her friend and she said what to do. So her friend just takes out this Fair and Lovely tube from her purse and says, "Tum shaadi ke liye taiyar ho jao." I said, oh, again, the same. But then what happens is that girl is shown to be using this thing. She comes to the father and said, "Main shaadi ke liye taiyar hu." The father is very excited, and then she says, after 3 years. So he said, what? After 3 years? See, yeah, I have to get a good job, I have to go in my own house, well settled, it should be equal, and then that's what now, I think the change, I have 2 points here. It's still, Fair and Lovely still remains a product, or this image, what we can say, is still market driven, right? We still need Fair and Lovely for a girl to gain a confidence in her. But at least the change what I saw in the attitude was that initially it was like a Kundali Badal Gayi, like you can get good husband only, and here after using Fair and Lovely, the girl gains back the confidence and has the courage to tell her father that I will get married, but after 3 years when I am matching this thing to that boy. I feel that there are points made by other experts here, and when Sabina said that you have to, that ignition temperature has to reach, and then that boiling takes place. I think what happened probably during this period, probably there was a lot of noise against this Fair and Lovely ads, and there was like even the realization of the women that, okay, we need to work, we need to be equal to the boys. I need not just get married because the rishta has come and all that. So I think that social pressure probably has changed, but the whole attitude still remains market driven, because you need to use a fair and lovely, and that still remains a kind of, what should I say, a symbol for a woman to look beautiful and get married. Still remains a thing. But at least there is some change according to me. Okay. The third observation made by that committee was that normally only a coy, submissive women, they are considered or acknowledged as kind of ideal women, you know. So the different personality traits are not respected, or they are not acknowledged as far as women are concerned. You know, probably a woman with a good leadership qualities or a little aggressive kind of a woman is normally branded as manly or aggressive, and also we don't kind of acknowledge, or we don't kind of respect the personality traits. And I would again like to quote one example. I read an interview of a very known sports personality in our country, Saina Nehwal. You know? Saina hails from Haryana. All of us are aware Haryana is known for its gender discrimination, and I think the male-female ratio is the lowest in Haryana. Am I right, Shanti?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of that kind of image of Haryana. When in that interview, she said that when my parents introduced me to the sport in the childhood, they immediately realized the potential, and they decided that, well, sports could be the career for our daughter, and they kind of you know. Now, she said that all the relatives, all the friends, they were not happy at all. They said, what is this, you know, a girl from a good family doing a career in sports. And the issues were right from wearing shorts to whatever, anything. So they shifted to Hyderabad for a better training, and rest is a history. All of you know where she has reached today. And I think, you know, when Saina Nehwal is flashed in the media, what should be flashed in the media is the mother. Because I think she faced that opposition from her relatives, her friends. She is the change agent we are talking about. We talk of change, but we never project the change agents which come from you and me. Did not come from heaven and say that, okay, we will change this thing. They are from you and me. And I think Saina's mother was an ideal example. So what should have been projected in the media? Like, look, here is a girl from a normal middle class family, from a state where the male gender discrimination is at a highest level. They show the courage, and especially I'm sure the mother is more kind of courageable here, and she said, well, whatever it is, I'm going to make it a career for my daughter because she has the potential. So I think she is a change agent, and in the media we should project stories like this which will inspire more mothers, which will inspire or give them kind of a moral support. You know, so I think this could be done. And I do feel that the media plays a very important role. Though we heard a little kind of a defensive this thing from one journalist, that what can the media do? You know, we just write the stories and it doesn't happen. But I don't fully agree. I think the media has the power to change the stereotype or motivate the youngsters or shaping their attitudes. You know, it need not every time give the excuse of commercial benefits or the popular norms. I'll just give you one example again. Recently we had this Festival of Ideas which takes place every year in Goa, and it's a very kind of popular and very well organized lecture series in Goa. And there was one very known personality, again a very well known environmentalist, Vandana Shiva, who was one of the speakers here. So I was very excited, and I told my students, I said, see, Vandana Shiva is coming and you must go and listen to her. By the way, the environmental studies is a compulsory subject in all the colleges, schools and everything, so they study environment. None of them were aware about her. They had not heard the name. Even after telling, they were not really interested in going and listening to her. Because I think the personalities like this are not projected enough or given enough space on the media, whereas the zero figure of Kareena Kapoor can become a national news. I am not blaming media entirely here, but I think the way you project also matters a lot. I mean, it's not that every time you have to give pages after pages, and because I know there are limitations as far as the commercial side is concerned, but I think the way it is projected or the way you portray it, I am sure you can make it more interesting, you can make them see more often, or there are ways of doing it, and you can definitely sell these personalities where no politics should come or where no any vested interest should come. But I think this has to be done. There is one more concern that women, that there is a low employment of women in media, particularly at decision-making level. Media has always been a male-dominated industry in our country, or I guess everywhere, and there are many female journalists as we see on the TV, but I think there are very few who deal with the serious issues or political events, or still fewer are, I think, the editors. So at the decision-making level, very few women journalists are there. Probably that makes a difference in projecting the women, I don't know. The film industry, the situation is same, and not only in our country. I just got the statistics that in USA, there are 3,000 film directors, and you'll be shocked to hear there are only 23 female out of 3,000. So, I mean, this is a case in the most developed country. There was a statistics from India that we have these character roles played by the women. And there was a survey done, they said that there are 46 character artists were seen. And they say that only 12 out of them were shown as doing a job, employment, which is not traditional, like secretaries or assistants, or normally when women are shown in employment, they are normally shown in this tradition. So even in the films, the projection is such that they are shown as a very traditional this thing. They are not shown as bosses. Somebody said in the morning that they do have the problems with the women bosses. Okay. But at the same time, I think there is another side to the story, and things are changing. If you observe that the youngsters in this field, I happened to read a statement from a young lady called Pallavi Gupte, who is with Ad.man, which is an advertising agency. And I would like to quote her that few years back we had to think to promote a woman in a lead role because of the pressure that people may not like it. But no longer. Advertisers are finding new techniques of marketing. Advertisers are also now becoming more and more aware of their social responsibilities, and more advertisements are coming showing women in the forefront. Yeah. There is this recent ad of Bournvita, which says the mother is saying that if you have to, she's saying the son, not the daughter, that if you have to win, you first have to win me. You have to compete with me. So that stereotype has tried to be broken somewhere. So I have also come across a site which is helping women to get online. It provides a step-by-step guide to help use the internet, how to use the computer, how to send email. There are internet articles which provide tips on finance, health, childcare, relationships, etc., etc. So I think there is a slow change which is coming. But what really is important is we should not hold the media in isolation responsible for all these things, because as it has been talked about, media ultimately reflects what happens in society. So I think all these are interrelated, our families, our society, our values, and we need to change on various fronts, not only just blame the media and say, well, media is doing this. We need to change on various fronts. But what we expect from media is when you project a woman, don't just go by glamour, go by the achievements, or don't just go by the norms, social norms, popular norms, people will like this. Because I think women constitute nearly 50% of our society, and we just cannot ignore them, or we just cannot say that okay, we have to put them in a right perspective, you know. So and again, the last thing which I would like to say, that lot has been spoken about laws, rules, regulations. I think we need a very strong legal framework, but that's not all. What ultimately required is we, the people, is going to make the difference. The attitude, the system which Sabina just mentioned, the laws were in place, the system, but why the system didn't work is because the people who are implementing those laws. So ultimately, I think it's not just the legal framework that's going to help us, it's we the people, and each one of us can make a difference. So I think it's an attitudinal change, each one of us, that's going to change the way women are going to be projected and the women are going to be shown in the media. Thank you.
Thank you, Lalita. I think she was very clear with what she said and was precise to the topic. Right at the beginning, she asked a very important question, that why is it only that you find most often the beauty of the women projected, which was what was during the keynote address and even the inaugural address by Nandini in the morning, where it is beauty, you know, the concentration on that. So she asked, why is it that the talent, mind, hard work, those type of stories don't come in so much, okay? Well, that is a reality which we do not need to cross-check on, because we know whether we look at electronic media or print media, that whatever coverage is done on women, as she pointed out later on, that Karishma Kapoor can get a coverage like this and a whole page about nothing. And you have what she gave you, a very, very correct example of Vandana Shiva, who's not just anybody at all, okay? It is not by coincidence, but as a matter of, I don't know why, but she got that surname also, Shiva, because she is that powerful, she is such a character, and the work she has done, and it is very sad that much on her has not been written. I mean, in fact, you have women who now, you look at this again, her work is more scientific, if I may comment, her work is more scientific. She's a scientist in her own right. Her work is more research. So if you have a woman who gets into some social activity where she has tickled something or done some kind of, she may get a full page in the paper. But if Vandana Shiva finds by research that this grain of rice could cause you something, or by using this pesticide, the papers are not interested in publishing that. So even to understand between women and women, there's a difference in the reporting, you know. So that I don't want to take too much time, because we still have too many speakers. But what Lalita said about using technology, I think we should not brush that aside, because Srinivas also gave us towards the end the same this thing, that with the use of technology, we as women can make ourselves more accessible and more coming into the mainstream. Not that everybody has an access to it, but I for one can tell you that I've been doing 3 columns for the last several years. I have never visited the newspaper, I do it through the internet. Even today there will be one column, I have never even visited the office, but I do it all through the net. So there are a lot of things which we can do even otherwise through our comments or through our whatever, where we can be in a position. So that is also media, whether it be blogging or whether it be through social sites, or whether, see, you can use something for evil, you can use it for good. It has been used in both ways. So my humble submission is that we should go into these kind of things and use it for our own benefit. To kind of just conclude what Lalita said is, it was a very positive reporting which she did, and leaves you with a very nice feeling. And the examples which she gave, right from Kundari Badal Gai to the Bonvita to whatever, okay, I think she has done a wonderful job, and considering her very heavy schedule and whatever, we need to give her a little hand. As I said earlier, Lalita is an educationist, but sitting at the side of me to my left is Chitra. Chitra has lit the flame of hope in many homes, because what she has brought in is not petrol, that petrol, what you call real petrol, but she has brought the petrol of vitamin M. She has empowered women, and a lot of homes which could have broken or they would not have had a meal in their house. Today they have 20 bikes, 2 flats. What I'm telling you is not an exaggeration. In fact, I'm telling you at a much lower kind of this thing. Chitra will not have time to tell you all those things, but let her tell you her story on positive reporting on women.
सर्वप्रथम सर्वांना नमस्कार करते आणि आजचा जो विषय आहे की रिपोर्टिंगच्या संदर्भामध्ये जे आपण वार्तांकन करतो पेपरमध्ये तर ते निगेटिव्ह किंवा पॉझिटिव्ह किंवा होकार किंवा नकारार्थी आणि महिलांच्या संदर्भामध्ये नकारार्थी हे केल्या जाऊ नये आणि पॉझिटिव्ह त्यांच्याविषयी आपण बोललं जावं किंवा वार्तांकन केलं जावं असं या ठिकाणी म्हणजे विषय हा आहे. आणि त्या विषयाला धरून सुरुवातीला म्हणजे मी उदाहरण देऊनच तुम्हाला माझं बोलणं जे काय आहे ते मी सांगेन. त्याच्यामध्ये म्हणजे जे पत्रकार जे आहेत त्याच्यावर कोणावरही दोष कोणावरही आरोप असं काही नाहीये. तर एक मला जे वाटतं म्हणजे सामाजिक काम करताना त्याच्या संदर्भात आलेले अनुभव आणि पत्रकारांनी केलेलं जे काही रिपोर्टिंग आहे त्याच्या संदर्भात मी 2 वाईट अनुभव या ठिकाणी सांगेन आणि एक 2 अनुभव जे आहेत ते चांगलेही सांगेन आणि मी माझं बोलणं या ठिकाणी थांबवेन. सुरुवात मी वाईट हेनी करेन की आमच्याकडे म्हणजे ऑल इंडिया विमन कॉन्फरन्स जी संस्था आहे त्याची उपाध्यक्ष आहे आणि आमच्याकडे एक मुलगी अगदी म्हणजे 22-23 वर्षाची ती आली आणि म्हणायला लागली असं की आपण एका सरपंचाबरोबर 3 वर्ष माझं त्याच्याबरोबर प्रेम प्रकरण चालू आहे आणि आपण त्याच्याबरोबर 3 वर्ष राहिलो आणि आता असं झालंय की तो अचानक त्यांनी कारवार कडून एक मुलगी लग्न करून आणली आहे आणि लग्नही झालं आहे. आपण पोलीस मध्ये गेलो, रिपोर्ट दिला, FIR केली, सगळं केलं पण पोलिसांनी बिलकुल दखल घेतली नाही कारण तो सरपंच आहे. पैसे देऊन त्याने ते सगळं प्रकरण दाबून ठेवलं आणि घरी जाऊन सुद्धा आपण मस्ती केली थोडी कारण कसं की मी त्याच्याबरोबर 3 वर्ष राहते आणि तुम्ही लग्न कसं दुसऱ्या मुलीशी केलं वगैरे असं सगळं आपण केलं पण माझं कुठंही काही चाललं नाही. मग ऑल इंडिया विमन कॉन्फरन्स कडे आपण ह्याच्यासाठी आलो की तुम्ही मला ही जी बायकांची संस्था आहे आणि बायकांसाठी काम करता आणि तुम्ही मला न्याय मिळवून द्या. आमची मीटिंग 5 तारखेला होती. आम्ही 11 जणी अशा बसलो होतो पण एक बाळबोध वळणामधलं एक आम्ही असं शक्यतो मी असं किंवा आमच्या महिला पण असं एक ऍटिट्यूड घेऊन चालतो की बाई आता त्याचं लग्न झालंय ना आता तर होऊ दे आता तू काय कर एक चांगला दुसरा मुलगा पहा आणि त्याच्याबरोबर लग्न कर. म्हणजे असं समजावून सांगून वगैरे आम्ही तिला पाठवायचा प्रयत्न केला पण ती काय म्हणते की नाही त्याला बुद्ध शिकून जाय मला त्याला धडा शिकवायचा आहे आणि तुम्ही माझ्या बाजूने उभा टाकणार आहेत का नाही ते सांगा. मग ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी झाल्या. 1 मीटिंग झाली, 2 मीटिंग झाली, थोडा राग शांत होईल हे होईल असं करून आम्ही तिला पण एक दिवस काय झालं की अशीच 5 तारखेला आमची मीटिंग होती. ती आली आणि हातामध्ये रॉकेलची बाटली होती तिच्या हातामध्ये आणि तिनं आमच्या ऑफिस मध्ये आली की सगळं अंगावर त्या रॉकेल टाकून घेतलं आणि आता काडी लावणार एवढ्यात आम्ही वास यायला लागलाय म्हणून आम्ही सगळ्या उठलो. तिच्या हातातली काडीची डबी घेतली नाही तर तिनं जर जाळून घेतलं असतं तर आमचं सामाजिक कार्य सगळं केलं असतं. मग आम्ही सगळ्यांनी तिला तशीच म्हणजे ऑटो खाली जनता हाऊस मध्ये आमचं कार्यालय आहे ऑटो आणली. ऑटो मध्ये 2-3 घालून तिला बसवली आणि पोलीस स्टेशन मध्ये आम्ही नेलं. पोलीस स्टेशन मध्ये नेल्यानंतर पोलिसांनी पहिलं तिला विचारलं की तुझं काय म्हणणं आहे तर ती म्हणते हा सरपंच आहे ह्या गावचा आहे मी 3 वर्ष त्याच्याबरोबर राहिले ह्यांनी माझी केस घेतली नाही मी जाळायचा प्रयत्न करून खेळायला लागले माझं काय ते तुम्ही निकाल लावा मला त्याला बुद्ध शिकवायला पाहिजे मी त्याच्याबरोबर लग्न करणार नाही पण मी त्याला धडा शिकवणार. मग आता असं झाल्यानंतर ताबडतोब पोलिसांनी गाडी काढली जिथं तो होता तिथून त्याला आणलं आणि एका रूम मध्ये दोघांना पाठवलं. खूप मारलं तिनं त्याला. राग सगळा तिचा तो निघून गेला. ती व्यवस्थित आवरली बाहेर आली आणि म्हणते त्याला सोडून दे. आता ही केस लिहून घेतल्या गेली आणि पत्रकारांच्या कानावरती थोडं कुठून अशी कानकून कुचकुच लागतेच. 2-3 चांगल्या पेपर मधले लोक आले काय केस आहे एका मुलीने सरपंचाला मारलं, एका मुलीने सरपंचाला मारलं अशी म्हणून आपण एक बातमी तयार करूया, हे करूया. आणि असं ज्या वेळेला ते पेपरमध्ये देऊया म्हणून हे सुरू झालं, तर मला वाटत होतं की तिची आता लॉ काय सांगतो की नाव सांगायचे नाहीत कोणाची, किंवा ती काय करते, किंवा हे असं गावाची नावं कोणाचीही नावं उघड करायची नाही. आणि महिलेचं तर कोणत्याही असं नाहीच नाही. मग थोडं जे नवीन रिपोर्ट करायला आलेले असतात किंवा ज्यांना तुम्ही जा आणि पोलीस स्टेशन मधले रिपोर्टिंग तुम्ही काय असेल ते क्रिमिनल असो हे असो घेऊन या, त्यांना थोडं मला असं वाटतं की एक संपादकाची जबाबदारी आहे की त्यांनी ह्या रिपोर्टिंग करणारे जे पण नवीन अपॉइंट केलेले आहेत त्यांना कुठेतरी ट्रेनिंग देऊन पाठवावं की बाबा ह्या अशा पद्धतीचं वार्तांकन जे आहे ते आपण करू नये. आणि त्याला तिखट मीठ मसाला लावून पेपरमध्ये देऊ नये की जेणेकरून आधीच तिची इज्जत गेली आणि परत पेपरच्या माध्यमातून आपण तिला एक्सपोज म्हणजे काय उघड करतोय. तर हे असंही वार्तांकन केल्या जाऊ नये म्हणून आम्ही पण थोडंसं मग एक संपादक जे कोण आहेत त्यांना जाऊन भेटलो. कारण नंतर मग पेपरला थोडंसं काही गोष्टी तिच्याविषयी थोड्या आल्या, मारलं वगैरे, तोंड फोडलं, एकाचे दोन तोंड फोडलं वगैरे असं काहीच नाही झालं, पण ते फोडलं म्हणून आलं. म्हणजे थोडं मग हे सांगायला गेल्यानंतर मग ते नंतर काय करतात की समजा आम्ही त्यांची कंप्लेंट घेऊन गेली की मग आमच्या बातम्याच काढून टाकतात. आमची कंप्लेंट तिथं द्यायची नाही, मग तुमच्या बातम्या, तुमचे नावं, तुमचे फोटो आम्ही काढणार असं करतात. म्हणजे हा एक अनुभव पत्रकारांच्या संदर्भामध्ये आहे की तुम्ही निगेटिव्ह जे रिपोर्टिंग करता ते करू नका म्हणून सांगितल्यावरही त्याची पनिशमेंट, त्याची जी सजा आहे ती आमच्या सारख्यांना भेटते. हा अनुभव मी घेतलेला आहे. दुसरा एक अनुभव तुम्हाला सांगते की हळदोने सॉरी हे अंजुना त्या किनारी साईड वरती की असंच एक वेल फॅमिली, ख्रिश्चन फॅमिली, दोघंही नवरा बायको, चांगले 2 मुलं त्यांना. आणि त्यांच्या घरामध्ये 80 वर्षाचा म्हातारा नाही, पोर्तुगीज कालीन म्हणजे सगळी भाषा बोलणारा एकदम छान स्ट्रॉंग तो. आणि तो काय करायचा की सुनेपुढे उघडाच यायचा सगळा, एक मनोविकृती कशी. मग ती केस अशीच आमच्याकडे अशीच आल्यानंतर आम्ही तिथल्या पोलीस स्टेशन मध्ये गेलो. त्या पोलिसांनी आम्हाला तशीच दाद दिली नाही, कारण ह्या माणसाने 10 ते 15,000 20,000 काय जो हप्ता आहे तो हप्ता तो भाटकार कसा एकदम देऊन ठेवून त्यांना ते हे करून ठेवलेलं पोलिसांना सगळ्या. त्याच्यामुळे काहीच केस पुढे जात नव्हती. मग पुन्हा 10-12 जणी आम्ही ज्यावेळेला त्या पोलीस स्टेशन मध्ये गेलो त्यावेळेला तो मनोविकृत म्हणून म्हणजे त्याच्या डोक्यामध्ये परिणाम झालेला आहे असं म्हणून त्याला आम्ही मेंटल हॉस्पिटलमध्ये पाठवलं. तो पुढचा भाग झाला. पण ज्या वेळेला पोलीस स्टेशन मध्ये मग असे वार्ताहर म्हणजे येतात आणि ही केस काय आहे सांगतात, त्यावेळेला बाईच्या पुढे तो नागरात जातो वगैरे असं काही लिहून आल्यानंतर मग तिचं पूर्ण म्हणजे नावासहित बातमी तिची आली चांगल्या पेपरला. आणि मग ते काय झालं की ऑल इंडिया विमन कॉन्फरन्स आमचंही नाव आलं, खूप ठिकाणाहून फोन आले. आणि विशेष म्हणजे तिचा फोन की तुम्ही माझं नाव कशाला याच्यामध्ये बाहेर टाकलं, सगळेजण आपल्याला विचारतायत, घरी येत आहेत. म्हणजे अशा पद्धतीचे 1-2 अनुभव आम्हाला खूप म्हणजे वाईट आलेले आहेत. आता चांगल्या अनुभवांकडे वळते की काही पेपर असे आहेत की ज्या खेड्यापाड्यामध्ये काम करणाऱ्या ज्या महिला आहेत त्यांच्यावरती सुद्धा फोकस करतात आणि चांगल्या बातम्या त्यांच्यामध्ये कॉन्फिडन्स आणायचं काम सुद्धा हे पेपरचं जे माध्यम आहे ते करतं. 2009 साली मला ज्या वेळेला असा प्रश्न विचारला गेला की सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप आणि तुमचे बचत गट काय करतात, तर बचत गटांना एक कन्सेप्ट दिला होता की पापड आणि लोणचं. हा कन्सेप्ट दिला होता की बाकी काय करणार, बायका येतात, कार्यक्रम करतात, गजाली मारतात, हिचा नवरा कसा, तिचा नवरा कसा, हिचा मुलगा कसा, तिची मुलगी कशी, अशा गप्पांचं ठिकाण म्हणजे सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप. तर हा कन्सेप्ट आपल्याला मोडीत काढायला पाहिजे. तर आपण ह्या सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुपच्या महिला काय करतायत खेड्यापाड्यामध्ये जाऊन त्यांचं काम पाहणं आणि त्यांना पेपरवर आणणं हे काम मी हाती घेतलं होतं त्याच्यामध्ये. आणि अभिमानाने सांगते की दैनिक गोमंतकने याच्यामध्ये पुढाकार घेतला. संजय ढवळीकर त्यावेळेला संपादक होते आणि त्यांनी सांगितलं की आपण ह्या महिलांचं जे काही कार्य आहे ते आपण पेपरला देऊया. 2 वर्ष मालिका चालली. तर त्यावेळेला त्या महिलांमधून एक सूर असा निर्माण झाला की ज्या सेलिब्रिटीज आहेत, जे उद्योगपती आहेत, जे पैसेवारी आहेत किंवा ज्या चित्रपटातल्या ज्या नायिका आहेत त्यांचेच फोटो फक्त पेपरवर येत होते. एक आमच्यामध्ये असा समज होता की आपण कधीही पेपरवर येणार नाही, परंतु ह्या सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुपच्या माध्यमातून ज्या वेळेला आम्ही व्यवसाय करतो आणि 45 ते 50 हजाराचा फायदा आम्ही आमच्या नवऱ्याला घरी आणून देतो, त्यावेळेला मी सुद्धा एक समाजातली एक चांगली घटक आहे हा विश्वास माझ्यामध्ये तयार झाला आणि मी विश्वासाने बाहेर वाड्यावरती मी वावरू शकते. ज्यावेळेला ह्या पेपरवरती त्यांना आणलं की मग त्यांच्या आजूबाजूला त्यांचं एक प्रकारचं चित्र तयार झालं की ही कुणीतरी चांगली काम करते. खांडेपार सारख्या ठिकाणी नयन बोरकर म्हणून एक महिला आहे, अगदी खेड्यातली आहे ती, परंतु 40 वर्ष झालं ती बलात्काराच्या केसेस सॉल्व्ह करते. पोलिसांना सुद्धा धागेदोरे मिळवून देण्याचं काम ती करते. ज्यावेळेला तिला पेपरवर आणलं त्यावेळेला अजूनही तिच्यामध्ये कॉन्फिडन्स आला की मी चांगलं काहीतरी करू शकते. म्हणजे अशा माध्यमातून सुद्धा काही महिला खूपशा पुढे आलेल्या आहेत आणि माझा भाग शक्यतो हा ग्रामीण भागातला आहे. मी म्हणजे शहरामध्ये शक्यतो मी काम करत नाही, कारण माझं कामच माझं उद्दिष्टच आहे की ह्या महिलांना कुठंतरी पुढे आणणं हे गरजेचं आहे. कारण त्या कोणत्याही पैशाची, फुलांची, कोणत्याही मानधनाची अपेक्षा न करता माझं काम किती चांगलं होईल ह्याकडे त्यांचं लक्ष असतं. ज्या सेलिब्रिटीज आहेत, ज्या सामाजिक कार्यकर्ता म्हणून आपल्याला म्हणून घेतात, त्या सुद्धा काम इतक्या चांगल्या पद्धतीने करणार नाही. ह्या आपल्या आतल्या आत राहून खूप सुंदर पद्धतीने काम करतात आणि एक सिस्टीम, एक त्यांनी आपल्यामध्ये एक शिस्त अशी घालून घेतलेली आहे की हे माझं काम आहे, हे माझं व्रत आहे आणि हे मला केलं पाहिजे. ह्या ज्या माझ्या महिला आहेत, ह्या ज्या माझ्या मुली आहेत, तर ह्यांच्यासाठी मला राबलं पाहिजे, मला केलं पाहिजे. माझा वेळ जो आहे तो वेळ मी ह्या समाजासाठी दिला पाहिजे. त्यावेळेला मग पेपरच्या माध्यमातून त्या पुष्कळशा पुढे आल्या, त्यांच्यामध्ये कॉन्फिडन्स पण आलेला आहे. आणि अशा गोष्टी ज्या वेळेला होतात त्यावेळेला निश्चितच समाज त्यांना मान्यताही देतो, घरामधून सुद्धा त्यांना मान्यता मिळते. एका महिलेचं तर असं उदाहरण आहे की ती म्हणते की घरातल्या चांगल्या निर्णयामध्ये आपला निर्णय हा घेतला जात नव्हता, की आपल्याला फ्रीजचा रंग कोणता घेऊया किंवा उमण कसं झालं आहे किंवा वॉशिंग मशीन कोणती आणूया, चांगल्या निर्णयात आपल्याला विचारल्या जात नव्हतं. परंतु ज्या वेळेला मी व्यवसायामधून 45 हजाराचा फायदा मी माझ्या नवऱ्याला देते आणि पेपरवर ज्या वेळेला माझं येतं त्यावेळेला घरातला मोठा धीर मला विचारतो की माझ्या मुलाला मुलगी कोणती करूया. हा जो फरक आहे, हा जो दृष्टिकोन आहे, हा बदलल्या जातो, निश्चित बदलल्या जातो. ज्यावेळेला तुम्हाला पेपरवरती लोक पाहतात, ज्यावेळेला तुम्हाला एक सामाजिक दृष्टिकोनातून तुम्ही काही काम करता, त्यावेळेला निश्चित याच्यामध्ये फरक पडतो. महिला कॉन्फिडन्स पण उभा टाकतात. कितीतरी अशा महिला आहेत की अंजुणे सारख्या भागामध्ये सुद्धा ज्या बाईक रेंटने 500ची नोट म्हणजे काय हे माहिती नव्हतं तिला, पण ती पेपरवर ज्या वेळेला आली पहिल्यांदा त्यावेळेला तिला असं वाटायला लागलं की मी कुठेतरी आहे, माझं अस्तित्व कुठेतरी आहे, माझं सत्व कुठेतरी आहे, मी कुठेतरी समाजातला एक घटक मी आहे. असं मला वाटतं की ज्या वेळेला ह्या महिलांचं जर वार्तांकन तुम्ही पॉझिटिव्ह दृष्टिकोनातून करता त्यावेळेला ह्या महिलांमध्ये कॉन्फिडन्स नक्की येतो. शेवट एवढाच घेईल मी की स्त्री शक्ती अभियान की असली उडान तो बाकी है, स्त्री शक्ति अभियान की असली उड़ान तो बाकी है, अभी तो पूरा इम्तहान बाकी है, अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमीन, अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमीन, आगे पूरा आसमान बाकी है.
She has put several messages in this one talk which she has given. On the dais, Lalita has been very kind enough to, I'm not very fluent in Marathi, so very nicely she has written some points down on a piece of paper. But I think it would be a very big injustice for me to do the translation or to tell you all the points because she has made very important points. I would request Lalita herself to and I just want to make a point, it was very kind of her because without making a show of it, she just slipped on the, she knew that I don't know Konkani properly, Marathi, she just slipped it nicely along the, and you see you do meet wonderful women like this sometimes, it's something nice.
I don't think it was anything. The experience is about journalists where the reporters, when they tell the reporters not to report certain things or not to project them in a negative manner, they are not, they don't listen to it and they project or they report the way they want. So their requests of not mentioning the names or not mentioning the names of the institutes where they can get defamed are not taken into consideration. But there is also a good experience which you mentioned, that paper like Gomandak, they did take a note of the various self-help groups, and instead of just projecting the celebrities and film stars, they started projecting the work of self-help groups, the volunteers, and that brought a lot of change in the attitude of the male members of the family, where the women were not, their decisions were not taken into account at all. The male members started respecting these women in the family and started asking them about the matchmaking in the family, or they started respecting them about asking when they have buy certain good things in the family. Earlier they were not, their opinions were not considered at all. So I think this financial independence or the vitamin M, as she said, has brought in a lot of change, not only in gaining the confidence themselves, but their image has been enhanced in the eyes of the other family members. And probably that's why she is happier working with the rural areas, where she feels that when we take the urban-rural divide, the rural women are better in their efficiency level or in their confidence level. They are more disciplined and they deliver better. That is what her experience is.
We will go to the third speaker now, that is our very young lady, the youngest on the dais, Danushka Digama. She is with the Navin Times and she is reporting for them. She has taken a little trouble. The younger ones always hold the broom more, correctly, and do better sweeping. So she has done some homework and she is going to show us some slides.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, before I start off with the presentation, I've got two videos to show you all. I'm not an expert, and these are just my views, my opinions, being a journalist and on the other side as a consumer of news and as a female out here. And before I start off with the video, while I was hearing the two other speakers talk, something just came to my mind, and I realized that while I was also into the news industry in television, I was kind of condemned as well when I wanted to do a story on females. And I wanted to do a feature because that's basically what I like doing. I like doing special interest stories, and since I was the feature in charge of a news channel in Goa, a name which I would not want to mention, when I came up with the idea and the concept of having a show, a half-an-hour show dedicated to women in Goa who have done so much yet not been seen in the limelight, my general manager asked me how much money. And I was like, what do you mean? So he's like, do you want to pay the people? I'm like, no, they would be more than happy to be on television because of what they've done. And the reason why I want to do it is for inspiration and to motivate the other women out there. But then he's like, no, this is not going to get us a lot of ads. And the idea was just jumped. So before I go ahead, while journalists like me and a lot of people out there who really want to work for the cause of women are struggling themselves to get their ideas across, it is the media owners who need to be sensitized and kind of be shown the right way, because ultimately it is a business for them. And for them, they don't mind suffering a minimum loss, but yes, they want money in return for everything that goes on the paper or for everything. Because today I had done a story again about a woman who was working for Lusophone Games, and at that time there were no work hours. She used to come in the morning at 10 and used to go home at around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and she met with an accident. She used to travel all the way from Perne for the meager 12,000 rupees, okay, because of the passion for the job and because of the opportunity. But after she met with an accident, I filed my story again, and it was supposed to come on the front page but was dropped because of an ad. Okay, so while the journalists are still doing their job, it is, I feel, the onus on the media owners to take up this cause, because there is no women's beat functioning in the way it should in our country and in Goa as well. And I would like to start with a video which shows how we are changing our perception about women, and how whatever we think is rooted in our society and is rooted in the values, given to us right from our family. The media has to play an important role in women empowerment, okay? And it can be done only when we become conscious of the strengths of women, okay? And slowly this is changing, okay? Earlier we used to find reports only about sports persons and celebrities, but today it's changing. We do have stories on women, but not like it should be covered. We still have to increase the frequency, and we still have to increase the number of stories that we do. And when I say this, I'm basically focusing on television and print, because that's where I come from. And we have to do it because we need to motivate, we need to boost self-esteem and confidence instead of making women scared through negative stories, okay? Because a lot of times what we see on the front page, or what we see about women in the news making headlines, is about rapes, murders, suicides, honor killings, etc., which again puts a sort of a fear in a woman, and she feels scared. Okay, because like even today when I come home late at night, my mother is scared. She's like, no, somebody might just kind of kidnap you or attack you. You please don't do hard stories. You do sweet stuff and nice stuff. You wouldn't be at that much of a risk. And this is all because of what we see in front of our eyes, and what we read on the newspapers. Next slide, please. The portrayal of women by media does not address serious issues about exploitation, unequal treatment to women. We are more keen generally in reporting sex-related incidents by way of sensationalizing news of atrocities of women, which I've just kind of explained. Women's problems never figure on the front page of a newspaper. You would never find a health-related problem on the front of a newspaper, or something about law issues, or something where a woman has been fighting for a right will never be featured there. You would probably see a tiny little column somewhere on the third or fourth page which tells you about the thing, but again in a gist. You wouldn't have a detailed story on that. And indecent portrayal of women in our ads, and unrealistic in our serials. Today, like me, I'm sure there would be a lot of modern women as well who get scared to get married and live in a joint family, because the perception we have is that the mother-in-law is a Diana, she's a beast. Okay, so this is what is portrayed in our serials. We have females today shown in such bad light, trying to create confusion. I am also a lecturer in journalism in a college, and I ask my students to kind of do a role play, and this is what they actually showed about a daughter-in-law trying to disrupt the family and trying to kind of marry her brother-in-law to her boss so that she gets an increment, because this is what they are seeing today. Okay, this is what is there in front of our eyes, and this is what we consume on a daily basis. And we also have the idea of portraying housewives as weak. We show women as unrealistic, fragile, uneducated, and too emotional. Because if you ask a man what he feels about women, these would generally be some of the things that we would hear from his mouth, because of what we see on television. In our serials, in our films, we always have women being showed in much weaker light than men. Okay, this is a study which was done in 2009, which has found that social issues related to women have got less than 9% of media coverage. And sensational stories range between 52 to 63%, which is generally what people want, because while we go by news values, we have certain parameters when we cover a news item. The most important now is a dumbing down. We give people what they want rather than what they need to know. Next slide. These are some of the many problems that are faced. I think we can just skip it. And why do we need to create positivity? Because in India there is a need to change the perception of people, males and females in rural areas, about women. Because at grassroots level this needs to change. We still have people today covering their head. We still have people today who do not eat food until the entire family finishes eating. So we need programs, we need news, we need to create a sense of identity for a woman, and this can only be done by us and nobody else. We have to do away with the unrealistic rituals just being followed. could inculcate and change the way men look at women, society moves people after all. Because if we do show positive stories about women and not just celebrities, in a sense we are trying to shape the minds of men as well. Because if we give them skimpy clothes ads on television, that's what they like. But if we try to change the way in how females are portrayed on television, it could also shape and mold the mind of a man. And it's vital for a woman, for her motivation, self-esteem, courage, to be strong and proud. Because once you have having twins through a cesarean, and that she took it up because of poverty and stuff. So once you reach a level, that is when you get the exposure, which is not what a person really wants. People want exposure when they start off. When they reach the limelight, at that time they have kind of achieved everything, and that's just the added glamour to everything. But you need to bring to the minds of people what you're doing right from the start. Next slide. And how can we report it positively? In the past, the media has shown to have brought about revolutions. The Jessica Lal case. We had so many more stories where the media has done. We have a new term now called the media trials, where because of the media things are taken up, issues are, come up, we have changes in the law, etc. In a similar manner, the need of the hour is a women's revolution in India, and we have seen a small little start like Satyameva Jayate and programs like this which do bring people who have done good in society for women into the limelight. And given below are a few ways which we can do it. Next slide, please. Empowering women through TV shows, something like Oprah Winfrey does, which has started. But yes, we still see these shows not shown during prime time, or again not on the front page. Okay, because again everything is about money. It's all about business and economy. Empowering women through job opportunities, like I'm sure we all know about Tupperware. Okay, Tupperware was started initially, and it was something to give women employment, and the tagline is "She can, you can," and it's growing into such a big business today, and this is because of the media. Empowering women through advertisements, Tata Jagore, the Power of 49 campaign, 49% of Indian voters have the power to elect their representatives, someone who they could believe would keep them safe and protect them from all sorts of atrocities happening in India. And like we have news bulletins, we could also have special programs featuring women for half an hour, because nobody can tell a woman's worth in 5 minutes or 2 minutes, and you need half an hour to expose and show exactly what a woman's worth is. And I remember on Sundays, I think it was 2-3 months ago, I think CNN, IBN had started this thing about the real heroes, and one of the episodes I watched was about a widow. I think this is some tradition which is being followed. I might be a little wrong in my details of the place, but I think it's in Varanasi, where she takes care of not only herself but the other people who have lost their husband. She takes care of everything, right from their food, shelter, medicines till they die, because there is nobody there to take care of them. And these are some stories which not just create a spark, but then which make you kind of realize that there's so much to be done for women in India, and there's so much that we media can do, not just in giving them a platform, but to change the ideologies that are still followed in rural areas. And yeah, the media strategies focus on the achievements in different walks of life, stories on fighting women atrocities, inequality, like soon after the Delhi gang rape, we had an app which was launched. I'm not sure of the name of the app, but then if you kind of click on it, somebody could kind of get the message where you are and save you. And there were stories on this app done, and there were people who used the app and they were kind of safe after using it, and they were kind of shown on television. So things like this could also help in a big way. You have to invite a lot of women to talk on shows because they have their own perspective. A woman's angle is always considered the most neutral and the best angle sometimes. So if we do have people who kind of respect them and bring them onto shows, it could also help in a big way. Editorial sections could include articles on empowerment where women can seek help from. Teen shows, cartoon channels should develop shows that educate children on how to respect women, because this is really important. Today we see Chhota Bheem and Popeye the Sailor Man and all sorts of things, but we need cartoons because this is we learn from home, and if crimes do happen in society, it is people in the society who we know are committing these crimes. And education starts at home, and if we teach our children something good in the beginning about women empowerment, they carry that along with them for their life and for generations to come. Educative programs revolving about on laws and rights of women, because today we see a lot of progress, but then we women stay aback when it comes to laws and rights which safeguard them, because we tend to think that we're not sure of what we know, and we have this perception that the law might just go against us because we are not so powerful to fight and we do not have the money to pay bribes. So we need programs which show us what the law is and how can women be safeguarded through laws. Educative programs, more companies can focus on advertisements, because today we have something called corporate social responsibility, and everybody, all big companies do want to invest in this for tax saving reasons, and yes, the media can tap this as a means to start educational programs for women, or generally programs which can help the society at large. Like Satyam Evajaiti, some more programs will be done. Educate women on how to become aggressive on certain fronts and fight back, because generally we Indian people are known to kind of take something. For example, if you get married, I've heard a lot of my friends talk about this, especially in North India, where they get married and then they realize it's not working, and when they know they have options like a divorce, because they're going through so much of torture, just like a Bharatiya Nari does, she would take the suffering and she would try her best to make things work, and she would not really want to fight atrocities, because it's her husband, it's a family, it's an institution, and blah blah blah. So we should, through the media, teach women that yes, you don't need to stay with a man who's torturing you so much that it's like killing you 1,000 times, but yes, you can fight back and you can do something for yourself with various means. Women's rights should be spoken about and should be made aware of. And for the media to do this positively, because again, since it's a business, there has to be an introduction. Now, what do I mean by introduction is there has to be a well-thought plan, a well-thought process in a news company about how we want to achieve this and how we want to report positively on women. The discussion should be done with social activists, women in the media, etc., who would kind of come together, discuss in a forum about programs, etc. Methods about doing it, what are the kinds of stories, how will they go about getting it, etc., etc. The results would be, once it's on the paper, etc., you would get eyeballs, you would get TRPs, because that is something I'm sure the media has still not tapped, okay, because you have to have that emotional connect with your audience, and emotional connect can come when you do stories like this and when you focus on women and you have women-centric programs on your channel or on the newspaper. And again, then you need to have a discussion to analyze, because nothing is rocket science and everything is trial and error. So you need to sit again, discuss about what are the loopholes and stuff and how you could progress in the right direction. Okay, now this is a very nice picture that I just came across, and it shows Hillary Clinton, and you have a teeny man stuck to her shoe. Okay, and if she does win the presidential election, she's going to be the first woman president there. And this just shows how today are kind of being portrayed in the right way and in the manner in which they should be. Next. Now this is an organization which works for women in India, okay, and they kind of have seminars for journalists, etc. So the media organizations can also be in touch with this company to kind of take up the cause of women journalism and to kind of take it forward, because I feel that there cannot be anybody better than a woman who can cover a woman's issue in the best possible manner, because you have that emotional connect, you know what the story is, and you know best how to talk to a woman. Because sometimes you have really rude reporters who are just waiting for their story, they shove the mics into your face and they get their story. So, so we should kind of do that, and I would end my presentation.
Editors, because very specifically, you want something in the paper and you have an editor who's a funk, or you have your head of this thing who's a funk, you're not going to get anything in. The whole rest of the staff can be very good, you cannot do anything. Because the final deciding one is the editor. Now, by and large, over the years, if you can definitely see that we have had, I mean, we may not like all of them, but we've had capable and competent editors. And there have been any number of women who have been taken into the field. whether for proper salary or no salary or less salary, but a lot of women have been given an opportunity to enter, and they have not really taken that whole, whether even in the electronic media, the number of women who are there. So Goa is one place where you have so many women where the ratio wouldn't be the same as what you would compare in the rest of the other states. And dropping stories is a very common thing. But that is understandable because it's all about the money. And as we all know, that it's not the reporters and the journalists who are the most important people in the newspapers today. The reality is that it is the administrative section and the advertising section which draws the highest salary. Because the money comes from there, not from you. You are an expense, they are an income. I mean, let us keep our things straight. So you can't say that, you're going to get this and you're going to do that and you're going to, because there is a focus, it is business, it is commercial. But within those limitations, how do we function and how do I bring my story? So there could be a lot more discussion on other things, but let's have some more from the audiences.
The media for projecting women in negative way, if at all we don't give footage to such kind of a negative portrayal, maybe we can only stop that women. For example, TRP of the serials, what we are saying that the mother-in-laws are portrayed as trans and all that. All the viewers are women, and I don't think any males view such serials. So if we are not giving the footage to negative in portrayal of women, that will stop by itself. Okay, so we women also have to be responsible, just not pointing fingers at media. Okay, stop giving footage to such negative images, it will stop. So we have to be assertive in that.
My question was, what in general, there's a platform for, because everything, journalism is a profession. I've been into the hospitality industry and we see, I've seen it myself. I've been a GM to a hotel, you get your pay for getting the organization ahead. But the crime that you see happening just below you, because everybody wants cheap labor, and this applies to even journalism now, because most of the organizations are controlled by corporates. Now, personally, I walked out of certain organizations and I started forming my own, something to do with the community. And I do not know whether you all have the journalism, you have put efforts to start something on your own, where the essence of journalism is not lost. At the same time, the dedicated journalists who are all given to society, who want to take it as a profession, how do you safeguard the rights of a genuine journalist? Because it's the need of the hour, because this is in every profession that I see today, because labor or your sincerity or no doubt how hard you work is no more respected.
The hard work and sincerity is definitely appreciated and respected, because I can talk for myself. This is my first job in the print media with Navin Times, but I've been with TV journalism for the past 8 years. I started off with Prudent, went on to NDTV, realized I didn't want to stay in Delhi, and I came back because I wanted to work in Goa. And I quit my previous job in television because I was kind of asked to get money for a program and asked to kind of do sponsored interviews with politicians towards the run-up election. And even before I decided to quit, because yes, I was young and I did take loans to go and complete my education because I wanted to study on my own. And just when I thought that should I leave the company, should I not leave, would I have a job, and there I got a job. Okay, and if people can actually stand on their feet and take decisions like that, it can happen. But about doing things on their own because of what they see, I think for young journalists like us, it's going to be a tough job, because there's too much of competition in the market, and there's not much you can do on your own besides starting blogs and using the online medium now, which is kind of surpassing the rest. But journalists get paid too less to kind of start a business on their own or to take up a course per se and start up a business. But yes, writing on their own and stuff like that can help in a long way. And we had, I think, Eve Scale editor yesterday who spoke about how she quit journalism because she wanted to focus on women issues, and she was not getting that kind of exposure in the newspaper she worked for, and now she's come up with her own magazine. But then you do need backing.
Is like this. in this type of a career which you're talking about, media, the more you sharpen your skill and the more, you kind of get better with your work. I'm leaving aside you being in a job or being in a, when you're a beginner, somebody may pay you 200 rupees for what you write, or somebody may not pay you and you're happy that it's published. Okay? The same person, as he or she grows with his work, okay, and you start writing the same 500 words which you were writing, you may have a paper who's paying you 5,000 or 10,000 for the same thing which you gave free 20 years ago. It's very much related to your, it is like when I started my profession, I may have taken 3,000 rupees as a deposit to fight your case. Today I will not entertain you in my office unless you deposit 3 lakhs on my table. It's related to my skill, related to my seniority, related to so the same thing with journalism, and I'm answering it in this way. When you're asking, when you're young and new in the profession, you do not have too many options. Unless, coming to the reality of it, like when you come to Eve'scape, you need a lot of money behind you. You don't have money, then the only thing you can rely on is on your hard work, on building up your reputation, and then you have it, So even when it comes to dropping columns or dropping this thing, once you've made a name for yourself, nobody wants to drop that name. So I have not answered you fully. Lalita would also just like to have a word.
No, I would rather say that your problem is related to your profession, but I would take it on a larger canvas and say that what is happening today is after 1990s, after the consumerism set in our economy, it's a commodification of everything. And what she rightly said, even in her profession, it is the same story. So, yeah.
What I would like to ask here as a question is that, do you have something like a censor board in media which can filter the news or the articles published or printed or even put on the TV media on the basis of ethics? The concept of neutralism in news or articles, if that can be maintained, maybe that could come out as a solution. So that the bias of the journalist is not seen in the article or the news, it should always be neutral and neutral. Just keeping facts and not bringing perspectives of the journalist, so that they don't get into the minds of the readers and create a bias in society.
Your answer to whether we have
A censor board.
I don't think in any part of the world or in any country will be able to run newspapers without a censor board. One, more or less the rules and regulations of censor board all over the world and what are their practices which they follow are almost the same. And I would like to throw you a question. What you are talking about, that where things would be neutral as far as certain things are concerned. Are you aware of any newspaper in the world where things are neutral? And where you can draw a line and say this is negative. See, it's all a question of, what you look at is something. It is the board will only give you guidelines. So they will look after that, there will be no violation to the guidelines. But if you are asking a story to be written, and let's be specific, we are talking about women. If you are asking, for example, okay, if I may just stir the hornet's nest, if a rape is going to be reported tomorrow, and all that you're going to say is that it is under section so and so, and in this police station and this, that and the other, and the accused has been caught. Nobody's going to read your story. Let's be clear on it. Nobody's going to read your story. But when you say that she was taken in the lift, and then the lift was not allowed doors were not allowed to open, and then hand was put inside, skirt was raised up. Oh wow, then you want to read the story 10 times. So let's be honest, nobody's going to read a story which has no salt in it.
No, it's like this, that you have a guideline, so you have the law laid down by the Supreme Court, say. Like for example, when we say that the name of a victim is not mentioned when you report the rape case. Now that is a rule which is applied to everybody. That's like a censor board where you say they are not. Apart from that, it is a policy of the management, policy of the owner that decides the neutrality of the reporting, or as she says, how much masala to put and how much to keep it like more realistic. That is a policy level. It's not always at a legal level. Legal framework is applied equally to all media. But within that framework, we have the policy decision.
which decide the each newspaper's kind of the way it is projected, reported, that way.
Fine, I get that. Now, the little concern more was...
As a responsible person, I would like to make a comment which may be taken with a pinch of salt, because I can foresee something. Many years ago, I saw a lot of computer engineers who were left without jobs. And it is happening today also. Computer engineers are left without jobs. And they are going into call centers here, there. And when I went into the reason why, because right where my office is, I had 3-4 people who opened centers and then they couldn't continue, like to set up websites, do this, do that. And I said, but why? Because they were coming from big institutes. Now the reason was very simple. Because somebody who's not even a 10th standard pass and who's a wizard at the computer, so if I quote you 25,000 to set up a website, he says you can give me 1,500. As far as you are concerned, you say I am getting maybe the same work. So for 1,000, but in the bargain, what are you doing? All those who finish computer engineering, that is because the computer engineers do not have a clause which protects them. Now you take me for example, that is when I realized, we as advocates, tomorrow you may know more law than me, but the court will not allow you to enter. You need the license. To be a doctor, I may know more medical knowledge than a doctor probably. I may have more knowledge, but the Indian Medical Association will not allow me to practice unless I have a license. Now the same thing with journalists, they are going to suffer like computer engineers and other professionals. If everybody is going to say, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to write on women, I want to, so that papers will say, please come, I will help you with your hobby. And those whom it is their profession will lose out. I just want to point out this. You are happy to see, because many of the pages for women, for example, on She, writing on women. So many women say, we will write, and people have lost their jobs, full-time jobs. So what is a hobby for you and somebody's profession? So sometimes we must think twice that we are, whether it is venom or whether it is what are we doing. Because it is,
Yeah, but also if you really want to pursue writing, I think you can go to WordPress.com and you can start your own blog and start writing, because a lot of people are using that. It's WordPress.com or .org, I'm not sure, and they teach you how to kind of start your own blog where you can not only post articles but pictures and everything that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.